Also, another quick tip, I guess, for increasing success rate for MVM creatives or any creative, I guess, in matter of sorts, is especially when you're working with. Just 1 second. When you're working with text and subjects, right? Um, it it's always better to mask your text behind the subject. Let me just zoom out for you. So this is the MVM Dubai creative that I'm working on, and you know, after selecting the best composition possible, which is a symmetrical shot, we have a subject in this in the center, and we have the text also kind of sized up. So I always like make the uh, fonts the equal width, right? So making sure that's done is super important for me. So increasing success rate is, firstly I duplicate the layer, the background layer, put it on top, and then I create a layer mask. All right, and then on the layer mask, I kind of on the image first, I will go to select and select subject, which is right there. And once that's done, it will kind of give me a rough outline of the subject, a rough selection of the subject. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it works, so that it really depends on the image that you're working on. This time it did a very rough one. So then what I do is I go back onto this layer, take my brush tool, make sure it's kind of a feathered brush, black chosen, and then I just go on and kind of mask parts out in and out of the image, right? So right now I'm trying to mask out the words Dubai and try to place certain parts of the text behind buildings and certain parts of the text in front of the building, right? And feel free to increase and decrease your brush size so that you can get more and more accurate results. Remember, you can't operate on a single brush size, so you have to play around with it. You have to really see what works best. All right, so as you can see, I'm revealing too much. Press X. I'm constantly pressing X on my keyboard to switch between the black and white, and the two keys, which is the bracket keys right here, this and this, to increase and decrease the brush size. Okay, so we don't need to be super perfect, because at the end of the day, the design is just an illusion. When you zoom out, it's not going to, no one's going to see it. But try to be perfect. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be perfect in what you do, but yeah. So this looks good. Over here, I think I'm just going to reveal a little bit more, and yep, kind of do this. So now it looks like it's behind the building, and I'm just going to give it one dab like that, just one, create some sense of depth or shadows. Actually going to do it for the entire edging of this place. Okay, maybe, yeah, just a little bit. And yeah, so that, as you can see, there's an artifact over here, so I'm going to deselect, and I'm going to do this manually. Okay, this entire thing can be revealed, that's no problem. And now we're going to see how it looks. Okay, so not bad. I think I think the A can be revealed, so I'm just going to brush this in. Okay, Dubai, MVM Dubai, and I think maybe we can brush down the text, kind of make it look like it's sunken, so kind of like an arc basically. So let's try that. Doesn't look too great. So I'm going to reveal this back again. A subtle arc would be better. See, careful. Just playing around with it. Yeah, so now there's going to be more text coming in over here. So let me just do that. Firstly, let me just save this project. MVM save. Now let's bring in the other texts. So MVM margin presents MVM Dubai, India, Pakistan post-match party. So let's bring in that text now. I'm gonna click T. Oops. New layer. Go on top of this layer, and I'm going to paste this text and reduce the size. Okay, so we've got a text here. Now we need to make it more legible. And there's also going to be text on top right here. We were going to write the event person's name. I always like to add these dashes with some space. And we will reduce the size and increase the tracking to make it look a little bit more cooler. I always feel doing this step makes it look slightly cooler or elegant. Okay, just gonna size that in a little bit better, right there. Okay. Okay. I am thinking of changing the font, so I have another font called Nod. So let's do Nod. Nod medium. Yeah. And just make sure there are no typos, because that would lead to disapproval. I'm going to remove these dashes because they don't look good anymore. And we're just trying to make sure it's optically centered. You know, sometimes geometrically not everything might be centered, but you can always center things optically. I added a quick overlay. Alright, and yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing below over here, except no overlay. And maybe we would need to add a patch. So a patch is basically using like a shape, like a rectangle. Rectangle is the best shape that you could use, and you can make that black. Anything that will increase the legibility. Okay, we'll bring this below over here. And we can maybe make this multiply, maybe reduce the opacity to 70%. And let's try to tweak this a bit. Okay, looks good. We will duplicate the patch. So I'm holding Alt to make a duplication, and I'm going to reduce the size. So I'm holding Alt and Shift right now to reduce the size from both sides at the same time. I'm going to use this extra patch to put in my date details. So let's go back. There's also some other stuff which is hosted by Chuck Bass at Westwick, so let's get that in. I actually have that already over here, so I'm just gonna drag it in from my previous creative, and it's just quick hack. If you are privileged that you to use both the creatives, you might as well. Okay. Now there are a bit too many fonts happening over here, and that's fine. That's fine. We can tweak it later. All right. So I'm not going to focus on that right now. I'm just going to focus on getting all the details of my flyer onto this creative. So I like to personally superscript the date, and you can do that by going to your text properties right there. So that allows you to superscript it. Superscript is basically allowing you to keep the text normal or have it up there. Okay, I'm also going to add a sort of an overlay, gradient overlay. So you can do that by gradient 2, click on this, make sure it's set to black, 100% opacity to 0% opacity, and then you can just click and drag an overlay like this. So I'm just gonna do something like that. Okay, and now I'm gonna grab a few things. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this image of Chuck Bass, which is already cut out for me, because again I've used the previous creative. I'm gonna put that right there. Let's grab maybe this element. Let's see where we can add this, maybe somewhere right there. Probably change the orientation of it. Okay. Maybe this could come right there. I'm just gonna focus on my camera right here. Yep. Let's grab in some more details. Let's grab this. Let's hide it. This XO thing. Copy, paste. Maybe somewhere on the top or bottom, since it's black. We have two potential places we can keep it. We could either do it this way, we can flip, okay, no, flipping horizontal won't work. We could, however, keep it somewhere over here. Let's keep it here for now. All right. Let's also make the date the same. I think it's Helvetica. Yep, this is this way. And we will need to decrease the tracking down to 0. And we will increase the font size. And we will also sample the color of this font.
Playing from desktop 031p20.
Okay, great. We might not need this extra patch, but the date's gonna, the logo's gonna come down there. So let's see. We're just making sure all the details are there. Looks good. Okay, we'll stick to center aligned because everything is center aligned. I'm gonna try something. And feel free to be creative. I think that's the most important part of this job, is to have fun and be creative. Although we do work on really tight deadlines, it's important to learn to have fun. So just trying something out. It may or may not be the final, go into the final design, but let's see. Can add like a slight bevel. I'm gonna copy this layer style. Right click, copy layer style, and then just I'm going to paste it onto this. So now we've got the same style over, and to be honest, it looks pretty good. But I am still worried about the legibility of the text. So I'm going to keep the patch, probably reduce the patch color opacity. Okay. And maybe that's fine. We need the logo for MVM to buy. So let's MVM plus DXP. Let's see if I have that. A simple file search should get me the logo. Okay. So what I should be doing is keeping a common folder for all the logos, but I haven't set that up yet. So I'm just gonna drag and drop the logo in, and I'm gonna push that down. Just gonna make that right there, and I might also paste the layer style right here and change the color overlay as well. Yup, there you go. And I think this should be good to go. I'm gonna now start taking exports. First I'll save the file and I'll start taking out exports. Okay. B1, save. Now I'm going to change a few things. I'm going to firstly change this font. I'm going to change all the fonts to Helvetica New, which is basically the Gossip Girl theme font. And in the process of when you change the fonts, sometimes the sizing needs to be adjusted too. So feel free to do that. Okay, and throw here as well. I'm just gonna recenter this optically, of course, and okay, just feel free to optically center stuff. I'm gonna copy this layer style again and paste it onto this text. Now I think I want to just quickly do a touch up on this. I'm going to choose a slightly hard font, and I'm going to kind of really bring in these parts of the building. So you can click once in one area, hold shift and click again, and it's going to complete the in between. Very cool feature on Adobe Photoshop. Okay, I'm not gonna play around too much with this now. I'm gonna switch back to my soft brush and increase the size and just brush this in. Again, we don't need to be perfectionists like me. So yeah, just don't worry about it, just get the creative done. I am going to, because you never know if there are going to be further revisions, so I'm actually taking a risk right here by perfecting it, but you have to be confident with your design. That's super important, and if you're confident, then please do take the extra effort to dial in all the details, because that's very much rewarded over here. Okay. Okay.